Hey, welcome to your Leo horoscopes for the week of October 29th to November 4th, which means it's Halloween week, which is so exciting. I think the fire signs definitely get the most fun out of holidays like Halloween. At least most of the fire signs that I know tend to get really excited about it, put a lot of energy into it, which is always fun to see. So if you're celebrating, have a very safe celebration. If you're hiding from it, enjoy hiding from it with your Halloween movies and your whatever else you have planned. We have a pretty uneventful week this week, astrologically, at least until the very end of the week. The moon is moving into Leo on Saturday, and that's going to create some challenges. But up until then, focus really is on finances. And there's a couple of things that seem to pop up around that. One of those things, of course, when we're talking about financial planning, we do have the Lilith or dark moon moving into, um, moving back into Leo. It's currently not in Leo, but it is moving closer and closer to the cusp of Leo. So its influence is about to be felt again because it is in retrograde. And that may make certain changes that you're trying to implement and put into place in terms of your financial planning. It may slow down the progress of that a little bit. So if you're trying to make changes in terms of how you've done your financial planning before, it may seem at first like it's not working. And that tends to put us into this panic of going back to what we were doing before because this isn't working. So we do want to try and avoid a panic as much as possible because generally you don't make great decisions in that panic mode. The other thing that's really coming up with this too is that this is all about drastic changes, and it's never a good idea to make drastic changes, especially around your financial planning. True, taking risks is necessary in order to move forward successfully in many ways. But I feel like the dark moon's presence coming back in is saying, let's leave the drastic changes for later. It doesn't mean that they don't have their place. This is just not a great week to implement those changes. And as we have the moon coming in at the very end of the week, this is going to cause a pretty big challenge because we have a lot of planets in all the other fixed signs. And so obviously that moon is going to interact in very challenging ways with all of them. And we're talking 7 planets total in between the moon and the planets that are in all 3 other signs. That's with 9 planets in astrology, that's almost all of them creating these challenges. And the moon, unfortunately, is going to interact with every single one of them in some capacity. So as we move into a T-square with Jupiter, as well as the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, which are in Scorpio currently, Jupiter is in Taurus, and the moon moves into opposition with Pluto, which is moving back into Aquarius, which is the 4th fixed sign. Lots of challenges are taking place here. The moon's main focus is on relationships, and it's in direct conflict with you. Now, I can interpret that a couple of different ways. One, emotional issues around some of your relationships are what's causing you to feel powerless to change your situation, which is a situation that happens with a lot of people, especially if you have relationships with people who tend to be very loud about their opinions and what they think you should do and how they think that you should live your life, which is one of the most annoying things in the world to deal with, is those people. And there's plenty of them too. I find it interesting that most people, when I talk to them, they want to run away from situations that make them unhappy, that make them uncomfortable, that don't promote any kind of good things in their life. And the result of that generally is a person that continues to find the same type of person that they wind up having to run away from a lot. And so this really isn't the lesson here. The lesson is to remain powerful despite the challenges that go on within your relationships, which is not an easy thing to do, to be honest. It's very difficult, but the more you practice it, the easier it gets. As far as the moon's T-square with Jupiter, the sun, Mars, and Mercury, all of these planets are opposing each other, one in the home and one in the career zone. And so we're talking about these emotional problems within your relationships basically interfering with all of these things. I have a client that I'm thinking of that's going to go, of course, because that's what always happens. Well, here's the deal. Okay. Yes, that is what always happens. But what really happens is we're trucking along, we're focused on our goals, we're focused on what we want to do, and then some kind of thing happens within these relationships that emotionally knocks you off your little truck. So you're no longer trucking along, you have fallen over, and you have to take the time to get up, to right your truck, to do all the things that you need to do in order to move forward. And that just wastes so much time. The lesson here is to prevent yourself from getting knocked out of the truck. Strap yourself in, put yourself on rails, anchor that truck wheels to the ground so that it can't tip over. Whatever it is that you need to do, you don't want these situations knocking you off your path anymore. That's what's taking up time. It's causing delays. It's making it so that you're not achieving these goals in the time that you want to achieve them, which does create a perfect opportunity for you to point the finger at them for being the problem. And the thing is that while they are creating a problem, that is true, they're not responsible for whether you fall off that truck anymore. Even if they're trying to make you fall off that truck, they're still not responsible. You're allowing them to continue to push you off the truck. That's what the ultimate lesson here is. It's putting yourself in a position or creating a position for yourself to where the annoyances and the difficulties that come up with the other people around you are not constantly getting in the way of what you want to get accomplished. We cannot continue to use other people's behavior as an excuse as to why we are not succeeding in life. That gets you nowhere. And if you ask any successful person, they will tell you they did not let that get in the way. So it is a pretty big challenge, and it seems like a challenge that always comes up because this is a challenge that a lot of people have to deal with, and it does always come up. It keeps coming up until you learn to strap yourself into that truck, until you learn to anchor that truck to the ground so that it can't fall over, until you learn how to take control of your goals and stop letting other people's ridiculousness get in your way. So that's what I have for you this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending me a tip or donation through my Ko-fi link. That is ko-fi.com/heavy metal psychic. Or you can click the link in the description down below the video and get there straight away. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys, harness your power and don't let anybody stop you from achieving those goals, because that is the ultimate goal, is achieving those goals and not letting anybody stop you. Don't let anybody get in your way. You're Leos, for crying out loud. You can do this. I'll see you guys next week. Make it a great week, you guys.